spending a high draft pick on him, and one of the few kickers that are able to live up to the draft status. Like, that is hard to do. 18 years as a kicker in the league. Now, you're talking about a guy who enjoyed himself now. There's some stories, I can't tell them on the air, but my most favorite, that definitely would get me fired.
Yeah, it's interesting. First-round draft pick and was still in the league. And while he, was always with the Raiders, I wonder this, though, CC. They went through 15 years when they didn't make the playoffs. If they had drafted a first-round draft pick that was an actual football player, would they have been better off?
Come on, look at that guy. That's a football player. Look at that. In the football almanac, there's a picture of him.
There's a picture. He had a big leg. He did make some big kicks, and he had a big personality. He'll be missed.
Yeah, 18 years, that's a heck of a feat. Now,
that's
to the
nice
NBA. Anthony Davis, he had a huge game last night, scored 42 points, grabbed 15 boards. His Pelicans did beat the Lakers 139-117. CC, is Anthony Davis just far and away the best big man in the NBA?
I mean, we're getting robbed, too, because what him and Boogie were doing together was really, really special. Now, we know that the brow, we've had great expectations on him, but he hadn't been able to stay healthy. Now, I just like him to get a national waxing deal with those eyebrows. I get my eyebrows done, bro. There ain't nothing wrong with it. European waxing will hook us up. I've already talked to the people.
That's a signature deal, man.
Signature.
Nothing to be ashamed about.
Man, when you're making $30 million, let me tell you something what your signature is.
That's your signature deal. That's what he's known for.
No, he's known for being the best big man in the NBA.
By the way, Jokic is pretty good in Denver. He had triple-double 2 nights ago. He's probably the most underrated big guy in the NBA.
But are you picking him over Anthony Davis?
It's just a good way to bring him in the conversation.
Look, there's a group of these young big guys, and it's going to be interesting. We just talked about the NFL.
We're at a great time in the NBA.
They changed the rules in the NFL to help quarterbacks, and they changed the rules to help big guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you look, pretty talented one in Philadelphia who's been pretty fragile.
Yes.
There's, DeMarcus Cousins, when he returns, is super talented. Obviously, we'll see after the Achilles tendon tear. There's all these young big guys. Kristaps Porzingis, young big guy, tore his ACL.
Yeah.
There's a group of young big guys. Can the NBA protect them so that we can bring back post play, as well as the fact that Anthony Davis can protect the rim and play in the perimeter?
We like seeing out there. The Raptors, they beat the Bulls 122-98. Now, Toronto's won 7 straight.
Nobody cares.
Stop it. They've got the best record in the Eastern Conference. But they are also 2 games ahead of the Boston Celtics and 6.5 games ahead of the Cavs. Chris Carter, can the Raptors give the Cavs some real trouble?
Yes, they can. But everything that they've done, their bench is better. Their motion on offense is better than their isolation game. So, yes, they are a better team. But the one thing Toronto does not have, and they maybe need to go to the National Guard, man, they have no answer for LeBron James.
Yeah.
So they might have home court advantage, but, man, LeBron James, it causes them fit. So when they come up with the answer for LeBron, that might be the first time they're able to get to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, this is, the Cavs being better than, for example, the Raptors is a lot like in college football. Like, call me when somebody beats Alabama in an SEC championship game, right?
Yeah.
Call me when somebody finally dethrones Kansas in the Big 12. Might happen, might not happen. But until we see it, it's really hard to buy into the Raptors. It doesn't mean I don't like DeMar DeRozan. I just said he's the most Kobe-like player in the NBA, at least at the offensive end.
Yes.
Right? But we just haven't seen the playoffs. It's been too much LeBron James. Whenever he wants to flip the switch, he's found a way to do so.
So still just a big old hypothetical out there. Moving on, the Thunder beat the Grizzlies 121-114. Russell Westbrook, he had a triple-double, his 17th of the season. OKC enters the All-Star break with a 5th placement. They're also 33-26 on record. So, Doug, what do the Thunder need to do in order to really be competitive in the West? All that?
No. I mean, look, I understand what they're doing. They have a small ball lineup. They bring in Jeremy Grant. They obviously have 3 tremendous scorers. Their starting lineup is massive. Steven Adams, great offensive rebounder. He's the strongest man in the NBA. I mean, it's just kind of who they are, right? They're wildly dependent on Russ to create shots for everybody else. And if Carmelo Anthony's hitting them, now all of a sudden they have 3 weapons. I think this is who they are. They're the team that we know most who they are getting ready for the postseason. Maybe more so than Golden State, as they're trying trying to figure out their bench rotation, maybe more so than Houston. It's still trying to figure out because Chris Paul hasn't been healthy enough to play together. We know what Oklahoma City is. They need to get back to early in the season when they were the best defensive team in the league, continue to crank that up in the second part of the season.
What they need is something you mentioned before, Melo being healthy and energized. Now, they need to get to the playoffs with him being healthy. How are they going to be able to do that and maintain position in the West? Now, that will be a chore in itself that they don't slip too far down. I believe Paul George will be outstanding in the playoffs. I believe Russ. Russ will be Russ.
Yeah.
But they need that fourth man, and that being Melo. That makes the difference for them for a playoff push.
I also think, like, look, Alex Abrinas has to give them something. Didn't hit a shot at all last night. I mean, look, we brought you in here to shoot, dude, and you got all kinds of guys that are creating help. He's got to make shots. They need that weapon.
Absolutely. Now, finally, the Cavs. Well, they look pretty darn good since revamping their roster at the trade deadline, but they actually almost made a different move. According to reports, Cavs ownerships did approve a deal to bring in DeAndre Jordan, but the trade hit a little snag close to the deadline. Chris Carter, are the Cavs blessed and lucky that it worked out this way, or do you think they'd be even better with Jordan?